be a sign of life in the TTY, but nothing doing.
That's beyond my scope of Spanish.
Seats. Looks like all the cars.
Next and last stop of the shuttle train is Times Square. Transfer to the 1, 2, and 3 trains. A, C, E, N, Q, R, D, and F trains. Connection available to the Port Authority bus terminals.
This one's been dead a while too. This is one of the only ones I can remember that had a 646 area code. There are a few others throughout Times Square, but I've already beat that dead horse.
Failure to wear a mask or face covering in stations or on board trains may result in a $50 fine.
Please watch your step getting on and off. Baby strollers, push carts, and pull carts are not permitted on the escalator. For your children's safety, do not allow them to play on or near the escalator.
Feeling the mountain vibe. Got it.
Attention, passengers. Please be advised that all boarding flags
It's really overwhelming.
I was dating a woman for a while, and we were taking a walk down this area on the Bowery on our way to Lower Manhattan, and we thought we'd check into this hotel to see if they had a bathroom. They did not, but they had something even better. Just this, new to me at the time, old phone booth. Looks like somebody smashed the handset. Could anybody have expected this thing to work? Anyway, there's the old 9X.
His mayor was trying to...
And the number shown on it. It's uncanny that how often this happens, but I looked for that number on my website and I have every other payphone number in sequence numerically around that one, but then it just skips that one for some reason. This is meant as a, I guess, a time capsule for Chinatown. They used to have these booths like this one with the pagoda tops, and those actually remained out on the streets surprisingly late. They were, I think, maybe just removed back in 2016. I think they were deemed culturally misappropriated or something after generations of them being out on the streets. But yeah, I remember these 9X calling cards. I had one like that, the one behind it. The blue one, I probably still have it. That's a beauty, isn't it? The woman I was with was nowhere near as delighted as I was with this little find. And you see this one has the pagoda top too.
should be gonna come later.
It's not really my wine shop, but this is the kind of sign that I stop and look at, because older signs like this will often have the little bug in the corner telling you what sign company made it, and the older ones would have the old telephone exchange name numbers on them. And that looks like exactly the right vintage that would have had that, but it doesn't. Here's another one. What's the story here? Maybe nothing. I came down to Lower Manhattan on September 17th, 2001, a week after 9/11. I was with some CNN reporters. And we had stayed at a hotel the night before, just up above Canal Street. But they weren't going to let us in. On the morning of the 17th, the police didn't want to let us in through wherever the hell we were. So it was a BBC report. They were trying to control how much media was descending on Wall Street. We were there to cover the reopening of Wall Street. And they were trying to control how many press people got in, I guess. But a BBC producer tipped us off that if we could find Pell Street, that was the path to Lower Manhattan. So we found Pell, and then we found this little curvy street. And we felt like commandos on a mission, which is, well, we were on a mission, but we were in a war zone. But this was the path we took, and This is what got us there. Didn't look anything like this that day.
Probably not.
Really? That'd be cool. I like it.
Street. I couldn't remember the name of it. Approaching the Metropolitan Correctional Center. That's where the late Jeffrey Epstein was held and where he hanged himself. This is also where El Chapo was held. It's also where one of the last standing payphones in Lower Manhattan held out until I'm not sure when, because I didn't come down here a lot during the lockdown. So I don't know when this one disappeared. And there were two others. Oh wow, I think there's still two others down the street. Wow. You'd think this would be a prime place for a payphone right across from a prison, but they have tons and tons of payphones in there, or at least they did at one point. Once in a while, I get forensic about traffic that comes to my website, and I analyze it. I don't do this too much, but there was a spell where a number of people had reached my website and searched for the phone number of one of the payphones in this building, Metropolitan Correctional Center. I interpret that to mean somebody was getting calls from Jeffrey Epstein or I got interrupted there when the battery ran out, but some people searching my website for these phone numbers from the Metropolitan Correctional Center strongly suggests that they were getting calls from El Chapo, perhaps, or Jeffrey Epstein, or somebody of that ilk, somebody of that notorious renown. But from back here, I think I see two survivors, which I'm sure don't work. I always wonder why they get rid of one on a block, but not the ones basically right down the street. But I'm sure logistics has something to do with it. I was explaining on my website what keeps the payphone business alive today. And it's never been coin revenue. It's always been negligible, the coin revenue, going back to the 80s. These days, in New York at least, until they plucked all of them out, the advertising panels on these things made millions per year, and it was good for Verizon, and it was also good for the city. But then Verizon got out of payphones and handed off a lot of these assets to advertising companies like Van Wagner and Titan, and other type of companies that, well, became advertising companies. Wow, I'm really surprised these are still here. Looks like it's about to tip over. Is this a payphone? I don't remember now. I haven't been able to look for one of these in a long time. Pray was the legendary scratchiti artist, described as a vagrant elderly white woman. And the legend is that she scratched the words pray or love God or love Jesus, that kind of thing, into every single payphone in New York. And she might have left her mark on multiple spots on the phone. Might have been the coin box, but this is a new coin box, so if she ever got this phone, that trace of her would be gone. In fact, this whole phone device is probably from the 90s. She was active up until about late 1980s, it's believed. Nobody knows who she was. Nobody's ever identified her. And this looks like the vintage phone where you might still find her on this surface or this, but this also looks like it's been painted over since she would have been around. Oh, but maybe it's a go-to-church phone. Yes, I think it is. I think you can see that. I think I'm going to try this with my phone because it has the flash that I can light up. In fact, let's do that. Yeah, go to church, read Bible. It's unfortunate that this flash causes a lightsaber to rip through, but it does make it readable, at least. It does leave no question that it's there. And she was so amazingly consistent. You'd think she had a brand or something, you know, a stamp of some sort that she just... But no, she did every single one of these, one by precious one. This may be the last one of these in the 5 boroughs, or 2 of these, I should say. But if you were eagle-eyed enough when there were more of these phones around, you'd still find the word pray. That was her classic signature. You'd find it on this part of the phone enclosures that looked like this style. But she's mostly gone. I feel lucky to be able to find just this much of her. Look at that building. Read somewhere that locals were described as viewing this thing as it was being built. They viewed it with a mixture of awe and trepidation. Anyway, I'm more interested in these. Oh, and just for gits and shiggles, as I like to call them. Check for dial tone, yeah, right. Nothing doing. Let's see what happens when I put a nickel in. I brought my sacrificial nickel. Well, it sounded like it went through, but the little door on the coin return is locked up in the upright position. Another nickel bites it, or another nickel goes into City Bridge's coffers. It's actually the only nickel I had on me. Oh, but so I was saying that coin revenue had not kept the business alive for a long time. First of all, it was the advertising on phones like this, but then you talk about PTS, which has no advertising on any of its phones. They arrange most of their locations around contracts, where a facility pays a concession fee to have the phone there, because it's places like hospitals and substance abuse shelters and jails, I guess, where they recognize the value in having that sort of thing present, but they don't expect it to turn a profit. But that's how you stay in the business these days, is you work out contracts with facilities like that. You convince them that there is going to be some value in having this thing there. And most places will pay like $75 or $100 a month for something like that. That's really gonna annoy me, losing a nickel that way when it looks like it wanted to come out. How I suffer. There used to be, I don't mean to be non-stop payphone, but there used to be a payphone down here with, all I remember is that it was with the Brooklyn Bridge behind it. And it would have been somewhere over here, outside the Alfred Smith houses. In fact, it was probably on that very block, because I can't think of where else it would be. And I did a photo shoot for Reader's Digest after they interviewed me at ridiculously great length, talking about the payphone project and randomness and all this. It was such an exhaustive interview. You'd think this was, I don't know what, 60 minutes or something. But they never published the story, and they never used the photos, and I don't know what happened to it. This is where we did the photo shoot. I was down here for 2 hours posing and holding the phone up into the face of the camera or the photographer, and just basically looking like an asshole. So maybe in that respect, I'm glad they never used it, but it was a lot of time and effort that led to nothing. There's another one of these shopping cart. This time 2 for 1. I don't know what the wood sticks are for, but I saw another one of these earlier that had me thinking the sticks were for somebody's squeegee guy job, if you can call it a job. Each of these is kind of a mystery to me, but I'm sure it's plainly obvious to a lot of people what the story here is. But yeah, there were 2 photographers and that one journalist reporter probably got paid a lot of money for putting the time they put into that story. Or maybe they didn't, I don't know. I certainly never got squat. Staten Island Ferry Terminal. The first one still works. The rest of them do not. That's what I expected. That's what it was like last time I was down here. And none of those, the orange things, are supposed to be schedules, ferry arrival times, and also USB charging ports. I don't know if the charging ports work, but the screens are all dark. There are a few others over by the bathrooms, but I feel awkward filming video over there. But none of those work either. The thing with the screen and the telephone handset used to give you free internet access and charging ports, and I never figured out what the phone was for. I don't think it was for making regular phone calls. I think it was to connect with advertisers or something strange like that. I always think it's funny how huge the telephone's sign is up here. It's like they need an exclamation point after this. But it's consistent with the signage in the rest of the ferry terminal. Just big telephones. None of them work. Well, one of them does actually. That phone works. And she's wondering what the hell that thing is too. Yeah, why not? Here are the other three that don't work. This one totally by chance, sometime middle of last year. And it worked. I think the TTY even worked. But that was then. That's right, this one has a very short cord. Couldn't even hang yourself with this. Well, maybe you could. Have to look that number up, see if it's on my site. The way these TTYs used to work was you pick this up, you hang it here, and then you dial 711. You know, I'm not even sure how the hell these things worked. I think you would dial 711 or a toll-free number, and that would connect you to a live operator who would ask you what number you wanted to call. And then once the call was connected and you were talking to somebody else with a TTY device, the keyboard would roll out of this thing. Oh, look at that. Wow. I just hacked the planet. That's pretty cool. I've only seen one more instance of this, a keyboard that actually rolled out on one of these TTYs. I didn't expect that today. That's pretty cool. Grimy and dirty, suggesting maybe it actually got some usage. I don't know. I do not know what these cards are for either. The TTY has always been kind of a mystery to me, because I've never seen it in use, and I had a hard time finding any video of it online, but I haven't looked in a while. This one's out in Gowanus. I'm all over the place today. I honestly didn't think this was going to be yet another payphone day for me, but some days I just can't stop myself. I was introduced to this one by that woman who I said I was with when we discovered that New England telephone phone booth, which was in Chinatown, by the way. I forget if I said, oh, I did say that. She had no idea that was going to be there, but she did guide me out here to this pretty off the beaten path spot, because she knew about this payphone, but she didn't tell me that was why she was bringing me out here, and she was starting to make me nervous because I didn't really know her that well. But she knew me enough to know that this would make me very happy. And then coincidentally, it turns out this is a phone being used by a friend of mine, an artist friend who had discovered this one not too long before I found it, or before she introduced me to it. And he might be using this in his project. And if he does, what he'll do is replace the phone with a custom phone that he built that has LED lights that shine here, 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 I guess. And when he's going to put like 10 or 12 of them up all around the 5 boroughs, and when you pick up one of them, all the other 11 or 10 or 11 of them, or however many, all the others will ring. And if you see those lights blinking and you hear the phone ringing, you're supposed to pick up, and you'll make random contact with a perfect stranger. And I'm familiar with that concept. But this one's a beauty. Last time I was here, it had cobwebs all over it, but they're gone now. Or spider webs, I should say. What's the difference anyway? I'll have to look that up.
Do you have them? No. Oh, I thought you did. No, I just like take them. Someone's got to take them.
Wow, look at this. Somebody took this sucker to the woodshed. This is the worst one I've seen. Dismembered. I do gotta ask, how does this happen? I mean, does somebody physically attack these things with big bricks or blocks of cement, or does this get hit by a truck? And I gotta give it some credit for not falling all the way over. That seems like a pretty solid structural foundation, I guess. I guess. But I'm actually hesitant to stand too close to this thing. I feel like if I touch it, it might just fall right on me. Ouch is right.